thing going, that's something, okay?
Right.
Let's investigate this, okay? So the test for whether you really left your body or whether you were hallucinating it is get some writing that faces the ceiling up above your body, okay? And they've done this experiment. And if you're floating above your body, above that piece of paper, when you come back to life, you should be able to say what's written on that piece of paper. And that is yet to happen.
If you get above it.
Yeah, if you get above it. Correct. That is yet to happen. That'd be really good.
Where would that piece of paper be? Suspended?
Yeah, no, you have to put it up on a shelf or something. Yeah, you'd be able to see, put it in a way that it would be clearly.
But then the person would have to die knowing that piece of paper was there and then be brought back?
Possibly. Yeah, I mean,
so you'd have to tell them, hey, I know you're going to die.
You're going to die.
We're gonna
if you come back,
yeah.
I have a piece of paper up here.
That
Go
seems
read
like
from it.
A pretty ridiculous experiment to try to
if
achieve.
you care, wait, pause.
Pause.
From ridiculous
So
experiments.
like, hey, I know this guy's about to die, but instead of concentrating on bringing him back to life, let's write down on a piece of paper and leave it on the shelf. But who the fuck is going to do that?
No, you know what they did?
What?
In 1895, after Wilhelm Röntgen discovers X-rays and they find out it penetrates your body and you can see bones inside your body, you know what they did?
What?
They set up X-ray machines at the bedside of dying people to see if they can see a soul leave the body.
And everybody just got cancer from the radiation.
They died from cancer. No, I thought that was an admirable attempt.
Yes,
to
interesting.
make a measurement.
Yeah, that's interesting. But,
yes,
but how would
they
you
never saw
possibly know that someone is going to die and or have a near-death experiment?
What you
and
do
then, a near-death experience, rather, and then put a piece of paper
if you wanted
on
to,
a shelf.
What you want to do, you'd have to be really organized about that.
Yeah.
And if you want to do this en masse,
you'd have to just like have shelves in every
have shelves
bedroom,
in every room,
of every ER.
Every ER, correct. Or yeah.
How often does that happen where people have above their body experiences?
It's very frequently reported.
Very frequently?
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying that the brain is capable of so much extraordinary thought within itself.
Of course.
That what I care about for the world is what is objectively true. And what's objectively true can be verified by multiple people. And if it's only true within your head, it's not useful, is all I'm saying.
How could it not be useful?
To
if it's
other
useful
people.
To you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if useful
I don't
to you,
use it with other
but
people.
hold on,
Other
if it's
people.
useful to you, and then that usefulness to you actually manifests itself in something that gets created because of this experience, like Kerry Mullis created the PCR method because he had an acid trip, and during the acid trip came up with this idea.
So, what we'd have to ask is, how frequent is that? So you get everybody who takes trips of any kind, be it mushrooms or acid, or and look at the body of their new thoughts that have come from them for them having, when they credit it, okay? And Carl Sagan was a big pothead, okay? And highly productive scientist. So so the question is, does it give you some insight which when you were not under the influence, gets you closer to an objective reality? That's an interesting question.
Carl Sagan actually believed that there was, the way he described, what was his description, the way he described it, but he said he believed that there are thoughts that were only available that were when you were under the influence of marijuana.
That is certainly the case for any drug, right? So
but he felt like those thoughts were beneficial.
Well, I can ask, are those thoughts more connected to reality than if you were not so influenced?
But if
so I did an experiment with myself.
Okay.
When I first started writing in graduate school, I had a monthly column. I there's that stereotype of Hemingway with a drink, and they're writing, and that's their creative moment. I said, I don't really like hard liquor, but I like wine. So I said, let me get a bottle of wine and drink wine while I write. And I said, yeah, this is good, and I'm doing it. And then I did it without wine. This is an experiment I conducted on myself. And it was not as fun composing without the influence of just some, a smooth, sort of low-level sort of wine buzz. But I looked at the two. There was no contest. My completely sober writing was vastly better than what I was writing under the influence of several glasses of
what
wine,
kind
even
of-
though I believed it was really good.
But hold on a second.
Yeah.
What kind of writing are you talking about? If you're talking about fiction,
No, prose.
okay.
Prose. But
One
I
of
like
the greatest examples of fiction being enhanced rather by under the influence of drugs and chemicals is Stephen King. If you go and read Stephen King's early work versus the stuff after he got sober, and I'm a gigantic Stephen King fan.
was it just alcohol in his case, or were there other
Cocaine.
drugs? Oh, other drugs too.
A lot of
Yeah.
cocaine, a lot of alcohol, cigarettes, a lot of cigarettes. It was way better. It's vastly superior, darker, deeper, stranger,
In the day.
more bizarre, more shocking.
In the day, you're saying.
In the day.
Yeah,
Read it
yeah.
today. Read Carrie
No.
today.
I meant you're saying what he created in the day under that influence
Yes,
was way.
the stuff
Yeah.
under the influence, the stuff he created
Carrie
under
is
the influence.
deeply dark.
It's
oh my
so
gosh.
dark.
Oh yeah.
It's so dark.
Wait, so when was
is
Shawshank?
Pet Cemetery. They're almost
When
all
was
of
Shawshank
them.
Redemption? Was
I
that?
think all of them were when he was fucked up. He wrote some good stuff after he was fucked up, but like Cujo, he doesn't even remember writing it. And
Okay,
it's
so
fantastic.
So, is this something you would recommend for creative
I
people?
recommend it, Stephen King. Get back on coke, sir. Stay off Twitter. Get back on coke. I'm kidding.
So what? My one little experiment with
no,
glasses of wine.
Yeah, that's not enough. That experiment's not enough. Like I personally feel that under the influence of marijuana, I come up with some of my best ideas for comedy, for stand-up comedy writing. I do the George
I hear you got a
Carlin
new show
method.
ready to drop. I'm
Yes,
looking forward to
sir.
that. I love your work, by
thank
the way.
you very much. Thank
Yeah.
you. I do the George Carlin method. I write sober and then I punch it up high.
Okay.
And sometimes
As
I just
opposed
write
to the
high.
opposite. Yeah,
Well,
interesting.
George Carlin had a great point. He's like, you should write about things that you're thinking about and things that are like important or things that are on your mind, and then he would like let it sit, and then he would smoke pot and go back to it, and then he would come up all the funny, all the
Interesting.
ridiculous aspects of it, and he would interject them into there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, to the extent I'd like to know how reliable that is.
Well, here's the other point that I should say. There's many people that don't do any drugs that write fantastic stuff. And there's many comedians that are completely clean and sober that have done their best work once they got clean and sober. That's true, too. Both those things are true.
Right.
But I think they're tools.
And we lost some comedians. Mitch Hedberg, for example,
Yeah,
one of my
so
favorites.
Mitch was
Yeah.
genius, but he
I
was
really
very,
loved
and
his
he had a
stuff.
really bad drug. His injectable heroin was
my
his
gosh,
thing, which
yeah.
is one of the worst. But the point is, it's like they're tools. And I used to have a joke about it, like that marijuana is like any other tool. It's like a hammer. You could build a house with a hammer, or you could hit yourself in the dick if you're fucking crazy. And that's the problem with all sorts of things. They need to be managed responsibly, and people need to understand what the effects are, what the dosage is, and that's where science comes in.
Okay, here's what I'll do. I still have some writing projects that I'm going to finish.
Take mushrooms?
No. When I'm done with what I know I want to